What's good, guys? Welcome back to Dimba Daily. This is the best football show in Kenya and Africa. Karibu sana. Joining me on this set is none other than the ladies' favorite artist, Fidel.
Charisma here, man.
Charisma.
Mr. Luhya hit.
Nice. So we've been off for a while, but now we're back.
Yeah.
Karibuni sana. We want to continue creating content for you guys.
New season, guys.
Yes, and football is a game that everyone loves.
Yes,
the world comes to a standstill when the World Cup is being played. Recently, we saw the African Cup of Nations, the world coming to a standstill, Yeah. And talking about that, we are going to discuss some of the football-related activities and events that have taken place recently and, upcoming. So, Karibu sana to Dimba Daily. Karibu sana, Fidel.
Something, man.
Anytime, Hey, if you didn't know, my name is Balo and Karibuni sana. Yeah, so Fidel, let's start with the most recent tournament,
Yes.
Africa Cup of Nations.
Yes.
Everyone thought Senegal were going to, beba the cup.
Yeah,
What happened?
And I thought Senegal had a decent team going into the tournament. A lot of players playing the trade abroad. And the one thing I always backed Senegal with is I felt like the top players are team players. You see, in many teams, the people who play in the European leagues, you feel like they almost want to come and look like the stars of the team. But you look at the likes of Mane, Koulibaly, Keita Balde, Gana Gueye, they all feel like part of a team. But it wasn't meant to be, and because of a very well-oiled Algerian team from the start. I remember a lot of people were saying Kenya can beat Algeria and go into the next group. And I kept on telling people that Algerian team.
Since we played with Algeria.
That's
last
true.
time we played with Algeria,
Yes.
we actually beat them.
Yes, but I think a lot of people just didn't think this Algerian team was good enough. But I think for me, from the offset, I felt like they had a very strong team,
Awesome.
Yes.
So, as Kenyans, we can brag that the only teams that beat Kenya
Yes.
in the Africa Cup of Nations
Yeah.
were in the finals.
We've become like the Argentinians with the World Cup when they said Croatia and France beat them and they're the ones who were in the finals.
Now, let's talk about, sorry for cutting you short,
yeah.
but the other team that didn't beat Kenya, we thought we were going to get beat by Tanzania.
Tanzania would beat us.
I thought Tanzania would beat us.
For
First
real,
of
why?
all, because of our squad.
Yes.
We have a very good squad, but the coach playing with the squad, someone like Paul Were didn't even kick a ball in Egypt, you get?
Yeah.
Some of the people who played in that squad are the same people who played for the 3 games.
Yes.
Omolo played the game he came in as a sub and changed the whole midfield completely. You get?
Yeah, the likes
So
of Avila,
coming to play against Tanzania, a fast-paced team and a team that was, had Bwana Samata, and teams like that are one of the teams that will come and disappoint you guys. And we actually saw Lunga at the front.
Yes.
We saw Eric
Yeah,
Marcelo Uma
little
playing
striker. Yes.
so well. You get.
Yes.
But for me, we knew African Cup of Nations. Kenya had a very good team.
Yes.
You get.
Yeah.
And Tanzania didn't beat us.
Yeah, I think the only place where Kenya suffered was the Josh injury. I think Josh is a decent defender. No, yeah, I mean, I think we made a lot of mistakes though, especially in the fullback positions. And apart from Akumu, I don't think we had any other defender who really stood out for me.
Eric Marcelo, even though he's not
Yeah, yeah.
but everyone was crying about Abu Domar.
Yes.
Some of the goals were scored came from his side.
What were Instagram?
Instagram.
Yes.
But anyway, we had a good team. Abu Domar is a very good left back.
Yes.
That's why I think he started all the games.
Yes.
But let's talk about Sebastian Minye starting 2 defensive midfielders
Yes.
at the middle. You get
Yes.
someone like Victor Wanyama and Odhiambo.
Yes.
These people, once we see them, we know that we are playing a very defensive game.
Yes, it's a defensive game. And
But let me tell you, we played against Algeria and we had a good team. We had a good run in the first half.
I mean, you see, for me, the issue with how Kenya played during this World Cup is it almost felt like when I was watching Manchester United with the Mourinho times, like we're just trying to stay in the game and not get beat 3-0, but it didn't. At some point, you feel like it didn't feel like we were going for the game. And I think the reason why a lot of Kenyans were not happy with the performance is because of how we played, not necessarily because we lost badly or anything of the sort. Just that sometimes our play looked negative, and you could see sometimes. I don't know if it was the Senegal game. Yes, in the Senegal game, I think it's where Avire and Omolo came in as substitutes, and the game changed. Is it Senegal or Algeria?
I think it was the
Algeria game, yeah. And they came and the game changed. And I think for me that really stood out because you think about it and you're like, Kenya can actually play. So why are we not playing from the beginning of the game? And I really wish that the coach would have started that team that finished the Algeria game in the Tanzania game. I think that would have been a very easy game for us.
Very good
yeah.
game.
Yes.
Now, where are the likes of Algeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast,
Yes.
some of the big wigs of African football, giants of African football? What happened this time? I thought Nigeria were going to do something. Actually, I was supporting Kenya, but after Harambee Stars, my next pick would be Nigeria.
I would never support Nigeria.
It's because of, when I was growing up, I used to watch Taribo West and the Kina Sunday Olise of that time. When you were watching that team, let me tell you, you would just be on your screen like this. You want to go on.
I agree, and I think mostly for some of the African giants, it's just teams that haven't gelled. For example, there were surprise packages like South Africa, Madagascar.
Yes, Madagascar.
And they were beating some of the really big teams, and you'd wonder why that was happening. And I think it's just that some of these teams have not played, some of the players haven't really played together for a while. And then the same thing I was telling you, where you see the big players coming from the European leagues and just basically abroad, coming to a team and feeling like they have the weight of the whole team and not wanting to, not wanting to play for the team.
Yes. We saw how these guys had a good run, Algeria and Senegal. But for me, I think, first of all, Egypt. Egypt getting knocked out with that awesome squad,
By who, first of all?
Wow. And that one, everyone. That was a shock to everyone.
But I think it was a dope World Cup. I think it was it had African Cup. Sorry, it had everything. It had surprise results. It had underdogs coming and showing that they could. Nobody thought Algeria would win. There were upsets. Like I think the World Cup was a whole package. And then as Kenyans, we also had that point where we were waiting for that third place finish up to the end.
Man, we were supposed to finish the game against Senegal.
Exactly.
I know would have taken us to the next one.
But I think in the Senegal team, we just got tired at some point.
Let me take you back to Nigeria. You have Odio Migalo, you have Musa, and you have Iwobi. I think one of the reasons why I was supporting Nigeria is because I'm an Arsenal fan. And as Iwobi, you know how Iwobi is with the ball. Whenever Iwobi is with the ball, he'll has to dribble. He'll have to try and take out some of these people. And I think that one was our surprise package for Nigeria. But Musa, starting the first game, hapo kwa bench, coming in and winning the game with Odio Migalo.
And Musa always does this, even at the World Cup. If you remember, Musa always comes, he's never started, but whenever he comes to the pitch, he just finds a way of changing the game and scoring goals. And I think those are I don't know, I think the players were just impact players. Players who would not necessarily perform the way they do when they come from the bench. And I think that's the type of player that Musa is. But I think the Nigerian team was okay. I wouldn't peg them to be, I honestly didn't think they were favorites to win the tournament. You talk about someone like Iwobi. I always say Iwobi is messy with the ball until it comes to scoring.
African Messi.
Yes.
Obviously.
Until it comes to finishing.
That's one of the playing styles that we don't have in Africa. Because most of the time we'll play with the energy, the strength. Then we don't have dribblers in Africa.
The likes of Kinazaha.
Yes, and when you get the ball, you get someone who can dribble the ball. And whenever he's with the ball, 3 or 4 defenders will come to him. What does he do? 45. And it's a goal, And you have Musa and Odio Migalo in that. Let's talk about Tanzania and Uganda. One of the few times in history that all the East Africa teams were in the African Cup of Nations.
Oh my God.
Uganda for me after the first game.
That's the difference between Uganda and Kenya, to be honest. Kenyans, I think we did well. I think we performed well. I don't think we had a chance in that group, a fair chance, to be honest, because of the pedigree of the teams that we had in the group. But you see, the way that Uganda was playing their football, I think that was the difference between us and Uganda. Even with the Uganda being eliminated, they go back to their country with their people feeling like these guys actually played football.
They've done something for us. And Khalid Aucho played for Gor Mahia at some point. One of my favorite players at Gor Mahia at that time. And let me tell you, in the midfield, when Khalid Aucho is playing, it's just lovely. But anyway, the African Cup was done. and we saw Algeria winning the Nini. Egypt chucked out the Riders. But anyway, let me tell you, for me, going forward, I think we have a better chance. If we only have a good coach as Harambee Stars, I think we're gonna go far.
And I think also believing in the youth. I think there's a lot of young players in Kenya who need to be given a chance.
They were given a chance lately at the Chan tournament, and a shocking results in Tanzania, drawing the game 0-0. Coming to Kenya and we were like, these guys were going to beat them.
Actually, I honestly thought we were going to win that game. I honestly thought we were going to win the second leg versus Tanzania.
The talent that is in that chance squad.
Yes, it doesn't
We'll
make
start
sense.
talking about it now.
Yeah, it's
We'll
a whole
talk
topic.
about it
Yeah.
the whole day.
Yeah.
Losing to Tanzania, for God's sake.
And I think it's a downer for Kenya losing to Tanzania in the CHAN competition after beating them, and our confidence being that high.
I think I know why. One of the reasons why we lost to Tanzania in the CHAN, it's because of the squad. The whole Tanzanian squad that went to the African Cup of Nations, most of the players in that squad were local-based players. You get. So for us, the local-based players were left for CHAN. You get? Were left for CHAN. And they were very good players, but at the end of it all,
sometimes football. Yeah.
But anyway, we saw Everton come to Kenya and play against Kariobangi Sharks, winning the game first of all.
Yeah.
The first time Kariobangi Sharks meets Everton
and they win the game.
Everton. It was a lovely game.
First of all, let me tell you one thing I love about that team is their celebrations with the penalties. It is amazing. Like, it's a spectacle. It's something. I think what Sportspesa is doing is an important thing for the game because first of all, it's drawing attention with bringing the big teams here, and still the kind of things that those players, the confidence that those players are exuberating in the games, are making people take notice of the Kenyan game.
Yeah.
True. And I think it's a real showcase for Kenyan football.
And actually, the Sven Ida celebration that trended, even one of the players of Manchester United, Antonio Valencia, shared that video. Coming to Kenya, getting the penalty again, doing the same thing after, a very, 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 good game, But we enjoyed the game. It's just that people wanted to see Theo Walcott. We saw Theo Walcott play. It was a very good game for me. I enjoyed myself.
Of course, you wanted to see Theo Walcott play.
I wanted to see Theo Walcott play.
For me, I think for me the only disappointment is Rooney went to.
The other disappointment is that Delph came to Everton after
the game.
But anyway, so keep it here. We're going to take a short break. Coming back, we're going to talk about the Premier League. Keep it Dimba Daily.